Hi, my name's Darren Bugg and today I'm in the Wembley area of North London. Now today I'm not going to be looking at just one travel lodge, I'm going to be looking at several travel lodges and I'm going to be asking the question, which is the best travel lodge to stay at in the Wembley area? Now there's something I need to mention, and that is all of them do have their advantages and disadvantages. For example, related to parking, related to public transport, and obviously related to cost as well, because they are quite different in pricing. So if you're coming along to Wembley Stadium or Wembley Arena, or you've got some other event at Wembley, you might be wondering which is the best travel lodge to stay at. And I'm going to go through the advantages and disadvantages of all the travel lodges in the Wembley area. And then after that, I'm going to give you a room tour on the inside to show you what these travel lodges are actually like on the inside. But first of all, which travel lodges are available in the Wembley area and what are their advantages and disadvantages? Well, I'm going to start with Wembley High Road Travel Lodge, which is the nearest travel lodge to Wembley Stadium. In fact, it's under 20 minutes walk away from the stadium, so it is the most convenient travel lodge. Unfortunately, there's no on-site parking, although there is a car park nearby and it gives you a discounted rate of only £6 for 24 hours, which is really good value, but that's the price just for guests at the travel lodge. There are some obvious advantages. It's an easy walk to the stadium. It's a fairly new hotel. It hasn't been open that long, which means the rooms are modern. There's loads and loads of shops, pubs, takeaways and restaurants very close. And it's extremely close to the nearest tube station, which is Wembley Central, which is literally only about 2 minutes walk away. So lots of advantages of staying at this particular travel lodge. Unfortunately, there are some disadvantages. I've already mentioned that there's no on-site parking. It's in zone 4, so it's a bit further out of the centre of London, which means tube costs are going to be a little bit more expensive. The rooms are fairly small at this travel lodge, but the big disadvantage I've found of staying here is it's usually more expensive, especially if there's an event on at the stadium. It can get very expensive at this travel lodge. Well, if you want to save a bit of money, a better option is Wembley Travelodge. This is the original Wembley Travelodge, the old one. It's a massive travel lodge. It's one of the biggest in the country, and I'm going to feature that a bit later on in this film. Now, this will take you about 40 minutes to walk to the stadium, or if you want to save a bit of time, you can have a 20-minute walk to Stonebridge Park tube station and then about a 3-minute tube ride to the stadium. Parking, well, there is a massive on-site car park, so it's great if you are parking your car at this particular travel lodge, and there's also plenty of free parking on the streets outside, but be careful, there is a lot of car crime in this area, as I actually discovered myself a few years ago. Several advantages. The main one is it's usually cheaper than the other travel lodges. It's certainly cheaper if it's a match day. If there's an event on at Wembley Stadium, then this will be the cheaper option, but you do have that further 40-minute walk to the stadium. The rooms are the most spacious. It's an older travel lodge, so spacious rooms. There's lots of on-site parking and it's really easy to get to this travel lodge from the M1 and the A1 motorway and the North Circular. Okay, so there are some disadvantages. Obviously, as I've mentioned, it is a longer walk to the stadium, about 40 minutes, although you can save a bit of time if you just walk to Stonebridge Park tube station, and then it's only about 3 minutes on the tube to Wembley Central. There are absolutely no shops or restaurants or takeaways nearby. There is a great bar and restaurant at the actual travel lodge, but there are no shops or restaurants nearby. And it is a fairly long walk to the nearest tube station to Stonebridge Park. The third one that I'm going to feature is Park Royal. Now, this isn't really in Wembley, but a lot of people going to Wembley Stadium still use it. It's a good 1 hour walk to the stadium. And it does have an advantage of parking. There is on-site parking, which is only £8.50 for 24 hours, and also free parking for blue badge holders. Advantages, well, the main advantages are that it's a fairly new travel lodge. It's been open a few years, but it is one of the more modern ones, so the rooms are nice and modern, although they're not as spacious as Wembley Travelodge. There's really easy access from the motorways, from the M1, the A1 and the North Circular, so it's easy to get to if you're travelling by car, and you've actually got two nearby tube stations, Park Royal and Hanger Lane, but neither of them give direct access to Wembley Stadium, so bear that in mind. Disadvantages, well, the rooms are smaller at this Travelodge. It's a very long walk to the stadium. It'll take you just over an hour to walk, and there's no bar or restaurant at this particular Travelodge. Well, the Travelodge I'm staying in today is the Wembley Travelodge. That's the old one with the spacious rooms, but it is 40 minutes walk to the stadium. And I'm now going to give you a room tour. Well, the first thing you notice when you enter the room here at Wembley Travelodge is that the room is actually very spacious compared to most modern Travelodges. Now, this might be because this particular Travelodge is actually quite an old one. It's been open quite a long time, but it's been refurbished inside, and because of that it looks new and modern on the inside, but it is actually quite spacious as well. And usually, and I'm just generalising here, but usually the older Travelodges do seem to be more spacious. The newer ones, the ones that are being built, particularly the ones that have been built over the last sort of 10-15 years, have been very cramped inside. But this one is very spacious, and I can vouch for the fact that it's not just this room that I've been given. I haven't been given a specially big room because they knew that I was making a film. In actual fact, I've stayed here many times before. I think I've stayed in this Travelodge at least 5 or 6 times over the last 10 years, and every room I've had has been very spacious. So don't think that I've just been given a particularly spacious room just because of making this film. In actual fact, all the rooms I've stayed in at this Travelodge have been really spacious. So that is one really big plus point to begin with. You will get a lot of space at this room, and also a nice big bed. And I don't know if it's just my imagination, but the bed seems to be a bit bigger than what you normally get. I don't know if that's just my imagination, but the bed is big, and it's also extremely comfortable, as they usually are in Travelodges. Give them credit, Travelodge do provide very comfortable beds. Now, as I said, this room has been refurbished. It's one of the new look rooms, so they have this new colour scheme and that new picture, which if you stayed in an old Travelodge, you know what I'm talking about. They have the same picture in every room, but they've started using a newer picture in the new look rooms, and a new colour scheme, which is actually a lot nicer than the old colour scheme. Heating is fine. You've got an electric radiator here. If anything, the room is a little bit too warm. There's no air conditioning. They have provided a fan, and I think I'm going to need it. I'm here in late spring, early summer, and it's not particularly hot, but the room itself is actually a bit stifling at the moment, so I'm going to have to get the window open and the fan on. But unfortunately, that is a negative point about the basic rooms in Travelodge. They don't have air conditioning. The new look rooms do have new chairs, much nicer chairs. And you only get these in the new look rooms. So you get the comfy chair, which you can use for watching TV or whatever, and also the desk chair, which is a lot more comfortable than the chairs they used to give you in the older rooms. So I stress, this isn't one of the super rooms, this is just the standard room, but it's the new look version of the standard room. So you get a few extra features like much better chairs, much more comfortable, especially if you're here on business, and a lot of people will stay at this hotel on business for reasons which I'll explain a bit later on. And so having a nice comfortable chair is quite important, and a reasonable, not a massive desk, but it's reasonable size. It's okay. You can get a laptop computer on there. You can do a bit of work. You can make some notes of any meetings that you've had. So perfectly good if you're here on business, having business meetings, want to do a bit of work on your laptop. Nice comfortable chair. If you stay in the super rooms at Travelodge, you get an even better chair which swivels. This one doesn't swivel. It's just got the 4 legs, but it is comfortable. Another feature you get in these new look rooms is the charging point here. Now I personally, I think it's good that they've put these charging points in. I'll just unplug it. So it's one of these super fast chargers. Just plug it back in again. But it seems a little bit pointless to me, because if you're going to have to carry one of these cables with you anyway, So you might as well just take a charger with you. And whenever I travel anywhere, I have a charger. So I suppose all you're really saving in terms of your baggage is not having to have a charger. But apart from that, you're going to have a cable anyway to plug it in. But that is a new feature anyway. Unfortunately, plastic kettle. We always prefer metal kettles, but they give you a plastic one. But to their credit, it's a new one. It's in good condition. Usual coffee, milk, tea. Don't give you a lot, never do. But if you go to reception, they'll give you some more. This particular Travelodge does have a restaurant and a bar which stays open late into the night. There's also a desk lamp and a fan, which I mentioned, and also better quality TV than you get in the old style rooms. It's a Samsung, it's good quality television. It's a 32-inch TV, so it's nice and big, and it's also got all the business at the back, which if you watch my other films, you know what I'm talking about. I like to bring a USB stick with films on and box sets and stuff off Netflix, and I can watch them on TV in the evening. And because it's a more modern style TV, you can plug in HDMI cable, you can plug in USB cable, you can do whatever you want with the TV. So great TV and a nice spacious room and a comfortable bed. So top marks so far. Right, let's just take a quick look at the bathroom. Now the bathroom isn't massively spacious, but I'll tell you this, it's a lot more spacious than the last Travelodge I stayed in London a few weeks ago. I stayed at another one, you can see my film on YouTube, and it was appalling. It was so small. So actually, although this isn't that spacious, it's certainly a darn sight bigger than the last one I stayed in, which was also in London. And it's also got the shower that I like, which is the ones with the hose. And I won't explain why, but if you watch my other films on YouTube, you'll understand why I prefer the hose style of showers. And it's fairly powerful as well. Hair and body wash, which you get in all Travelodges, and also hand wash. And pleased to say they're both full, because often I've noticed cleaners often don't bother to fill them, and you have to go back down to reception and say, you haven't filled it up. But these are both full, good quality stuff, nice shower, really clean, and quite a big shower compared to what you normally get in Travelodge. Usual mirror, see me there, and hairdryer. Now, hairdryers are not provided in basic rooms at Travelodge. You probably know that already. Big tip, I say this to everyone in all my films. As soon as you arrive at Travelodge, ask to borrow a hairdryer. They have them available, but sometimes they don't have many available. And if you don't ask straight away, then they might run out. So what I do whenever I come to a Travelodge, if I'm staying in a basic room, then the first thing I say at reception, please can I borrow a hairdryer? Because if you wait until the evening and everybody's turned up at the hotel and taken hairdryers, don't have any left. Now, this doesn't apply if you stay in a super room, because if you stay in a Travelodge super room, then they have hairdryers anyway, but they don't in the basic room. So remember that, good tip, ask for a hairdryer as soon as you arrive, because otherwise they might run out. And I'll just swivel round. Coat hangers. Again, if you've watched my other films on YouTube, you'll know that I always complain they don't give you enough. Well, there's 6. Which is absolutely brilliant, because normally you only get 4 or 5. It's not a proper wardrobe, it's the usual thing you get at Travelodge, this sort of thing to hang your clothes on, and then obviously spare duvet, spare pillows. So that's great. The mirror there, another socket. Nowhere to put your bags. Now I've just got a couple of bags, got a little handbag, and also my camera case with my laptop and everything else in. I've had to put it on the chair, basically. There's nowhere to store it. Some hotels, they give you something to put it on, but it doesn't matter for now. I can leave it there, shove it on the floor, doesn't really matter. So that's it. That's a tour of the room. The new style of rooms are actually really good, because you get some of the extra little luxuries that you'd get in a super room, but it's at the price that you'd pay for a standard room. So things like the USB charging, the better chairs, the better television, and just a few other sort of nice little things that you would expect in any basic hotel, really. So all in all, I really like this room. Didn't used to like it in the old days. As I say, I've stayed here a few times before, and to be honest with you, it was a little bit ropey. But since they've done it up, since they've renewed the rooms, turned them into these new look rooms, modernised them, they're actually very nice rooms, with the added bonus that now also you've got a very spacious room, a lot more spacious than a normal Travelodge. Well, I hope you found that useful. My name's Darren Bugg. I make lots of films about budget hotels for business travellers in the big cities of England, like London, Birmingham, Manchester, Leeds, and all over the UK. If you could help me by subscribing, I'd be really grateful. I don't just make films about hotels for business travellers, I also make a lot of business advice films as well as part of my series of business success secrets. So please remember to subscribe, to like, to share. It really does help me and it doesn't cost you anything at all. Until next time, thanks for watching, happy travelling, and I'll see you again soon.